Hey guys, Eric and Joey here for the first in a series of videos we're going to do leading up to the launch of S.H.I.E.L.D. This isn't 100% sure that S.H.I.E.L.D's picked up the series, it's just a pilot right now. We'd be pretty shocked if it didn't get picked up.
I think it'll do okay.
I think they might have some confidence in it.
Yeah.
It's now in production though. And I think the big news we want to talk about right off the bat is that I talked to the president of ABC, Paul Lee, very recently, and he gave one little distinct information about it, which is that it takes place after the Battle for New York, after the Avengers, which pretty much kills any of the it might be a prequel theories. So here's my question for you, Joey.
Yeah.
Agent Coulson, he's in the show, we know that. How is he in the show if it's set after Avengers?
LMD. That's my big theory is that maybe there's a life model decoy, which of course they use tons in Marvel comics.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that those, they develop their own personalities a lot of the times. Like they're essentially robotic clones of, VIPs. But a lot of times they sort of develop their own memories and their own personalities. So maybe either the Coulson we saw get killed was an LMD of the real Coulson, or the one that's going to replace him, or the Coulson in the show, is going to be an LMD version.
There's the other theory that some fans have, and I think it's really just because Clark Gregg kind of looks like the Vision in the comic books. Some people are like, he will come back, like the Vision will be in it, but it'll be like the based on Coulson version of the Vision. What do you think of that theory?
I mean, it could be. It's a similar idea of like a robot taking on the memories and stuff of a former person.
Right.
I think if it was the Vision, I wouldn't expect it to be, the Vision with the cape and stuff. Yeah,
same here.
So it'll be, the Whedon version of the Vision, but that's sort of similar to an LMD kind of idea. I think that's the way they're going to go, is some sort of new creation of this old person.
Yeah, I think I think it could be something like that too. I will say that when you look for clues anywhere you can get them, Clark Gregg even tweeted about his suit fitting for S.H.I.E.L.D. and said something about it's good to have the suit on again.
Oh,
so Clark we can assume he's wearing the suit.
Yeah.
I do wonder, the whole thing, of course, you do wonder with Avengers is, does it like, kill that loss in Avengers? And if it's not the real Coulson, if it is like a robot trying to find humanity, if it's the Data version of Coulson, it does kind of still retain that loss in Avengers,
Yeah, I mean, retroactively, I think it'll be a little less shocking.
Right.
Because you know that he's coming back.
Right.
But ultimately, I think the dramatic beat is still really necessary in the movie itself, and I think it still works, so.
Yeah, and I think, most of all, I think people are very excited just to have Coulson back one way or the other,
And the other thing is Coulson was always sort of like we know he's goofy,
right?
But he's also sort of like robotic, and just the way that he's sort of like just always observing and not really interacting a whole lot until the Avengers movie really is the only time he's really like had his own personality and own motivations and stuff.
Although there was those little shorts on the some of the DVDs. We got to see him kick a little bit on that.
That is true. That is true.
The other thing I want to talk about this week is the fact that we have heard the whole cast list for the show, and we've heard the character names. And at first I thought maybe they're using fake character names, but now kind of doesn't sound like that. The other cast members, Ming-Na Wen is the only other sort of very recognizable person in the cast going in, which isn't too surprising. Joss Whedon usually casts fairly unknowns in a lot of the roles. But all the characters none of them are from the comic books.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us expected going in, Clay Quartermain or all these people from the comic books would be characters. Right. And instead it's 6 people, Coulson included, because he's not from the comic books, who are created for this show. What do you think about that? Does that bother you?
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't bother me at all, especially considering, Agent Coulson and Nick Fury Jr., as he's called in the main Marvel universe. We all know, Ultimate Nick Fury was based on Samuel L. Jackson's likeness, and that's what made it into the movie. But now in the regular Marvel universe, they've incorporated Agent Coulson and done a switcheroo. So now the main Nick Fury is now Samuel L. Jackson.
Comics.
Yeah. So I mean, so that alone just says to me, like, if these characters take off in the show, it's likely we can see them in the Marvel universe as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. That's sort of like expanding the Marvel U across all mediums and just creating new characters wherever.
Yeah, I mean, especially because it is one company, So, and the fact is, I mean, you look at Coulson, who's now a beloved character. I think people kind of forget, not from the comic books.
Yeah.
I do wonder. I'm a little surprised that none of them are from the comics, but I don't think it's in no way a deal breaker for me. And I do think in some ways it might be smart, because then you have this ongoing TV show, which is probably going to have 22 episodes a year, that doesn't have to be so tied into these core characters that the movies are going to use.
Right.
I'm sure there'll be guest appearances and ways to introduce characters in the comics, but then they don't have to be so oh, we can't screw with them too much.
That's what I'm guessing is like we're gonna see. It'll probably be a surprise in the pilot to some degree, you know, of a character we didn't expect. And I think we'll see a lot of characters sort of in and out. But that, you know, like you said, it opens up to. You don't have to have actors committed because they're going to be that character.
Right.
So these people that are the unknown actors that are playing these new characters, like they're part of the show. They're the core of the show.
Yeah.
Everyone else can just sort of come in and out.
Right, right. And you know, the last thing, you know, I wanted to mention this time is the fact that, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, who, you know, there's some of the more cynical people are saying, well, will people care because it's going to be a bunch of these like no-name people. It's not going to be the superheroes.
Yeah.
But to that, I would say Joss Whedon is the big in for me on this. The fact that it's a new Joss Whedon created group of characters.
Cynical people on the internet? What?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
It's a crazy theory I have. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's shown time and again that he's great with ensemble casts.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's just going to be what this show really hinges on is the strength of the characters that he creates, the writing of the show, and how they all sort of interact. And I don't think once the show's going and we see there are greater ties to the cinematic Marvel universe, I think everyone will be on board.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you, but let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments. How do you think Coulson's going to come back? Are you cool with the fact that it's a whole new group of characters? And we'll be back to talk more about S.H.I.E.L.D. Thanks.